start thinking that they deserve the cookies. They don't pity the brown-eyed kids. They start telling each other, well, their eyes are same color as shit. They're lesser. They don't deserve cookies. This isn't unfair. We deserve this. Because once you are introduced to privilege, equality will always look like discrimination. That Thomas Sowell said that. Once you give someone more rights than another group, they start incorporating it into their mind. Their mind gets rewired, right? Because the mind doesn't want to say, hey, look, I'm getting this and it's unfair. No, the mind wants to say, it's fair, you deserve it. Those people over there, they ain't getting these same rights because they're horrible. That's what, and then your mind gets rewired up. That's the trick. And now we all fight racism by giving more rights to a small group of people, which is basically literally not like, but or kind of like, it's exactly supremacy. When you give one small group more rights than the other groups, that's literally the definition of supremacy.
Well, it doesn't seem as though I am being covered, because throughout this whole process, I don't think anybody's even mentioned anything to me about any of the distress that I've even experienced. I mean, even on that day, I was literally threatened. I literally had my things stolen from me, and it's as if nobody has cared at all about that, except the Christians who've been supporting me. But yeah, I mean, compelled speech is just like what we're experiencing here. The pressure from from the authorities, from police, the power that people maybe within the LGBTQ plus community.
See, first of all, they have made it illegal to misgender people. You can see that what the law says. If you insult someone and they feel distressed or they feel annoyed, then you have committed a hate crime. So they literally have made it, because all anyone has to do is say, well, I'm distressed, and then it's a hate crime. But number two is, it doesn't matter if, you take it up to the Supreme Court and they say, oh, that's crazy, you can't say that's distress, just from this. It doesn't matter that that happens. If everyone has to go to court and go through 10 different courts to make it up to the Royal Court in the UK or the Supreme Court in the United States, if you have to do all of that, it causes a lot of stress on you. Who's going to do that? You're just forcing them, scaring them, terrorizing them, because they're terrorists, into doing what they want, which is to shut you up and take your rights away, to say that gender theory is a bunch of lies.
Feel as though they have on us to suggest that we must refer to them by pronouns. It is that is distressing, but yeah.
Well, so they arrest you, they put handcuffs on you. I want to get into what happened.
So it's not about distressing people, it's about distressing the LGBT. Okay? Nobody else. So it's only about getting rights for the LGBTs to have, and nobody else has this right. Yeah, that's not supremacy. Okay.
After this is 2021, right? You just had a resolution to this week, so this has been going on for almost 2 years now. What happened that day once you were arrested?
Well, what they do, so I was obviously arrested. I was taken to Ellen Road Police Station, which is within Leeds district, and booked into the station. Had all my belongings taken off me, my my body camera and so forth. Booked in, and then put into the cells. So I was in the police cell for 14 hours. I asked for a duty solicitor. No duty solicitor got in touch with me throughout my whole time in there. So I wasn't released until the next morning around 6 a.m. So in all, I was locked up in a cell for like 14 hours. And that was it. So the next morning, they were ready to do my interview. So I went and did an interview, but I just given no reply interview because I never even had a chance to speak to a solicitor. So I just no replied the interview and just left in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Keep in mind, this is a Christian country. It's literally based on Christianity. You know what I mean? And only Muslims and the LGBT cult, they're the only religion that's allowed to talk out in public. Everyone else gets arrested. You know what I mean? It's like, what the heck? And you know, now in all, it's a law now. You have public schools in the Christian country called the UK, by law, have to teach Muslim teachings, you know, the Muslim Bible or whatever, in every public school in the entire UK, in this Christian country. But this is all about inclusiveness, huh?
So you're detained. You're detained for hours. You then, in a solicitor as an attorney, that would be the term they would use here.
Oh, and also, the Christians, if they try to speak up in the public schools and say, well, I don't want to hear this stuff about Allah and about this other, you know, Muhammad or whatever, this is all, I'm a Christian, they will get kicked out of the school, they will be suspended, everyone will throw garbage at them and call them a horrible human being, because they're not inclusive. It's funny, the Muslim thing, they're kicking him out because they're not inclusive to Christians, but that's okay. That's okay. So it's okay to not be inclusive to Christians, but they love inclusivity. You know, when the tolerant tolerate the intolerant will take over.
So you hadn't talked to an attorney. So let's talk about how this impacted your life from that moment. You know, you're talking 20 some odd months that this has been going on around that time. How did this impact your life, this case?
Well, from that moment, what they do is they bail you for investigation. So at that point, I wasn't charged. I was released on investigation. They took me body camera. I had 2 cameras functioning at that time, which I have for my own protection and to sort of, you know, to help me. But from that, I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's okay. The CPS will look at it. They'll look at the evidence. They should be able to clearly see what actually happened that day. And surely I've never violated Public Order Section 4, so they should come to the senses and just give me a no further action. That's what they would normally do. Look at it. There's not enough evidence to get a conviction. No further action. It's all over. It doesn't go to court. That's what I expected would happen. So at that point, I thought, okay, that's all right. I'm just going to carry on with my ministry, carry on going out preaching. Funny enough, a month later, I went back into the same spot and preached from the same spot, and I was arrested again the following month. This time, however, again, I was released. I was arrested. I was locked up for like 7 hours.
What's funny is it started out being that the cops will just harass you, you know what I mean? And then it progressed on to, oh, well, we're going to harass you, and we're going to arrest you and take you down to the station and just let you walk away. We won't even take you into the station, you know what I mean? Then it progressed to, oh, we're going to arrest you, take you to the station, and put you in jail for 12 hours, like overnight or whatever, and harass. It just keeps progressing more and more and more and more and more and more. And people tell me, well, it's no big deal. They're not making it illegal to misgender people. Really? How many times can they keep progress more and more closer to making it illegal for 100%, because these people more and more are getting locked up now. They're winning. The other side is winning. When you win, you don't stop. You keep going and pushing for more and more and more and more and more. You can see that in the UK, they're literally clapping, saying, thank you for taking my free speech away. Like they think, what's funny is they think they're not going to do that to them. You think they're not going to take your freedom of speech away once they once they have the ability to take the freedom of speech away from one group? They're going to start taking it off of every group. That's how it happened in Nazi Germany and That's what's funny. Name one time in history where they started taking your freedom of speech rights away, right? That it didn't turn into a horrible dictatorship like Hitler, Mussolini, Chow. When can you? Because I can name 100% of the time where the dictator took over right beforehand. They changed it and tried to. Because once you can't speak out against them, then they can basically come to your house and on national TV drag your baby out and kill it on your front lawn. Because if you can't complain about it, if it's illegal to complain about it, then they can just keep doing it. You know, that's all they need to do is take away your freedom of right to speak. These people are like idiots. They think that the elites are just going to take the freedom of speech off of one group and then just stop there. Is that what the elites do? Is that what they're known for? Really?
They took my equipment again.
What was the offense that time? What were you accused of doing that time?
Again, it was the same public order section 4A, and myself and another brother, we were both arrested, and later on we were both given no further action. So on that incident, the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, looked at our footage, and on that situation, he says, "Oh, there's no crime there. They didn't violate any law. Give us our equipment back and give us no further action." I went back into Leeds City Centre again the next month. Same thing happened again. They arrested me. I was preaching, little crowd. They arrested me for a breach of the peace. There was no peace being breached at all. Then they arrested me again. They de-arrested me for the breach of the peace, and then they arrested me again for public order section 4 again. And this was based on a conversation I had with a Muslim guy, a disagreement we had on who God is and on who the correct book, holy book is, the word of God is. And they took that, and then they said, okay, I've insulted this guy, I've caused harassment, alarm and distress to this guy. So they arrested me for public order section 4 again. But on this instant, Billy,
funny how it's against the law and it's a hate crime if you disagree with the Muslim. I mean, if you're a Christian and you say, I don't believe in the Muslim Bible, I believe in the Christian Bible, that's insulting and a hate crime. But if it's the reverse, the Muslim says your Bible is wrong and the Quran is right, that's not insulting, that's not a hate crime.
I was locked up for 7 hours, but they give me a no further action at the police station. So they just says, okay, no further action. There's no evidence to kind of convict, and basically just showed me my door. And do you know what I did, Billy? There's a car park just opposite the Ellen Road police station. The way the police were handling me, I was expecting to be arrested even before going in. So I literally parked my car in the car park opposite the police station, went into the city centre and preached, basically expecting that if I stand there and preach my message, the police are going to arrest me and take me there. So when they let me out, I was able to walk across the road just to my car. That's how ridiculous it was getting. I'm putting hymn books in my bag, so that when I'm arrested and they put me into the police station, I can take my hymn books into the police station. It's getting to the point that I'm preparing myself for hours in the police station, and that's how I've been treated within Leeds City Centre. Other cities have had a much more professional approach, funny enough, but this city has been a very difficult place to go and preach.
right now, I think a lot of people are looking at England and they're wondering what's going on. There's obviously the other issue that's happening right now with which we expect to see these buffer zones around abortion clinics, 492 feet around the clinic, not being able to silently pray in front of a clinic. I mean, there are a lot of questions. I think the rest of us are sort of